Good morning. It is Friday, December 9th. Thank you for joining us for this edition of Up to the Minute. I'm Sade Campbell, the Strategic Enrollment and Communications Manager here at HCC. I will soon be joined by my co-host, Randy Ramsey of Southwest Alternate Media Project, and I'm going to kick things off by telling you how to find us. We are always live on HCC's district Facebook page, on Houston Community College's Facebook page, not HCC. Make sure you spell it out. We're also on Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram, and on HCCTV's network noon, 5 and 10 p.m. Monday through Friday. You can also check us out at hccs.edu/podcast to catch the audio version of our episodes. Well, today is Film Friday, mainly because we like alliteration. We have a student success story from the Filmmaking Program, Kirby Williams, who is a graduate of HCC's Filmmaking Program. Welcome to the show, Kirby.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Good morning. Well, we're going to be with you in a moment. We're going to kick things off by first talking to one of our guests who has one of our favorite initiatives, the Zero Cost Textbooks Program, including a textbook that he has written. Welcome to the show, Dr. Nathan Smith.
Hi, Sade. Thanks for having me.
Oh, so great to have you. And congrats on the book. Let's start there.
Thank you. Appreciate it. It's a really cool project. Definitely a big team effort. Lots of contributing authors, and the OpenStax publishing team did a lot of work. So I'm really proud of it and happy to see it out.
And what is the book about? What is the focus of the textbook?
Yeah, so it's an introduction to philosophy textbook. And the idea is that it's a kind of general introduction to philosophy that covers the major topic areas that would be covered in a first semester philosophy class. We cover it thematically as well as historically, but this is a kind of an intro textbook. There's some cool, I think, unique features about the textbook, but basically this should sort of replace a standard. It's kind of a standard textbook replacement. That's kind of the mission of OpenStax, is to provide an open resource that's free to students, but basically is structurally similar to kind of a traditional textbook.
And that's essentially a lead into one of my questions is, what is OpenStax and its affiliation with Rice University? So OpenStax was the publisher of the book and a part of Rice University, but who started leading this work around open educational resources?
Yeah, they were one of the early drivers of open educational resources. The movement itself is, kind of goes back to the late 90s and has had a diverse kind of origin. But there's a faculty member at Rice University in the computer science department, Richard Baranek, who got this bug in his ear and decided to create a platform that would allow faculty to develop resources and create modules and share them. And that platform was called Connections. And the platform got fairly large. It got a lot of usage, and people were creating entire textbooks on it. And in around 2010, Rice University and Rich Baranek kind of worked together, and they said, you know what, we need to take this project to the next level. So they created an actual publishing house. So now they don't so much support the sort of faculty developed little modules and things that get shared in Connections, although that legacy platform exists currently. What they do now is they try to produce high quality, peer-reviewed, well-designed textbooks with all the ancillary materials, all the things that people expect out of a textbook today. And they use a process that's very similar to sort of a publisher process. And they pay the authors and everything. But then once they publish it, it has an open copyright license and is freely available on the web for students.
Awesome. So for any students listening, I think that was a very in-depth discussion. And what I want them to hear is that these are free online books, right?
That's right. And they cover the major areas, all the major areas of social sciences, mathematics, sciences, humanities. And yeah, you'll find that online at openstackscollege.com.
All right, and you are a faculty member first, is how you got involved in this work. And it's my understanding that you are, from a philosophy standpoint, you were the senior contributing author, and there were also other 12 contributing authors. What was, tell us a little bit about your role in writing this book.
Yeah, so OpenStacks approached me about the possibility of this textbook. So I worked with an independent editor and manager, and we developed, I wrote a proposal for the textbook, and then I wrote a table of contents, like a detailed table of contents for all of the chapters that we wanted in the textbook. The company went out and actually hired into other authors to write the chapters. Now, I ended up writing 2 chapters myself, and I was a co-author on 2 other chapters. There's 11 chapters in the textbook. So, I wrote a fair bit of it, and I provided editorial consultation throughout the process. I worked with the authors to sort of help them understand what we're trying to do. But there were also editors on that. And then, of course, there was a pretty big design and production team that sort of took the content that was developed by the authors that had they went through 2 stages of peer review. Every chapter went through 2 stages of peer review. We developed some ancillary resources, including questions and PowerPoints and all that stuff. They took that and designed it, and they put it and embed it in this online web-based publication platform. So it lives on the OpenStax webpage, and then also can be printed out as a PDF or in a hard bound or paperback cover.
Well, love to hear that there was so much intentionality around the user experience, the design, I'm sure mobile responsiveness. In light of all that you've shared that went into the textbook, what makes you especially proud about it?
Well, I think the cool thing about this textbook is that I made an explicit decision to approach philosophy from a multicultural world perspective. And that's not something we see in introduction to philosophy textbooks. As you know, maybe that, you pick up an intro to philosophy textbook, and where does it start? It starts with the Greeks, and maybe you go to the Romans, then you go to the Latin Europeans, and then you go through the Enlightenment period. It is a story that starts in Greece and goes through Europe and maybe comes to America. That's not a story that's terribly inclusive. It's not a story that many of our students identify with. And the reality is that philosophical thought has deep and broad histories in India and China, and even in indigenous communities across the world. And so the effort of this textbook was to say, let's present philosophy as something that developed across the world. So when we do the history of philosophy, we start from indigenous cultures, what their philosophical views were. Then when we talk about the Greeks, we start in Egypt, because the Greeks got their basic ideas from the Egyptians. So we want to show that this wasn't just something that sort of came out of a particular European tradition. This was something that has been all over the world. And I think we've done that fairly successfully. And that, I think, is probably the thing I'm proudest of in terms of the textbook. It was definitely a challenge. I had to read a lot of stuff that I wasn't familiar with. I had to write the chapters that I wrote. And I had to press my authors to say, listen, I know you are not familiar with this stuff, but you need to become familiar with it so you can write something for students. And they came back and said, oh my goodness, I didn't realize how sophisticated and interesting these ideas are that were developed in India or China or in other areas. And so I think that's really the place that I'm happiest about with the textbook.
Well, Nathan, hold your hand up for me. Just hold one hand up. Let me give you a virtual high five. I love it. And it's when we think about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we have to think about all of the systems that we exist in day to day, from our curriculum to our processes. So I think there was a question on here about why faculty should consider using the textbooks in his class. That's it. Like, you've already absolutely made the case for it to connect more broadly with a diverse group of students. And, I just want to tell everyone, students who are considering this, that spring enrollment is opening up. Tell them how to look for courses that have open educational resources for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, please, like, our philosophy faculty have tons of options. So philosophy courses are a great way to fulfill your core requirements. But if you're looking for free textbooks, what you want to look for is in your class search page, you want to look for a course attribute called textbook savings. And then you'll see an orange bubble next to courses. You're looking for the Z. The Z is zero cost. We also have low cost options, and we have an inclusive access option that provides materials at a reduced rate through the publisher. But yeah, look for those textbook savings courses and save yourself some money on textbooks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nathan Smith, who is a philosophy instructor, open educational resource coordinator, and definitely an absolute leader in making sure there are affordable options for students to learn, and the author of the new textbook called Introduction to Philosophy. We'll have information about him posted after the show and his book. Thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Smith.
Thank you, Sade. Thank you.
All right, take care. All right. Well, even after 2 years fully online, we still, you always are going to run into challenges. And I believe my co-host, Randy, is still trying to get some technical issues resolved. So I'm going to fill in. Hopefully she'll be able to join us during the show. But I'm going to move on to our next guest, Kirby Williams, who is an HCC graduate filmmaking of the Filmmaking Program. She's worked at HCCTV, absolute student success story. I've worked with her on some things. Welcome back to the show, Kirby.
It's a pleasure to be here. Nice to meet everybody again.
Absolute deja vu, huh? Just flashback.
Right. Trip down memory lane.
Yes, absolutely. So as shared, it's interesting that you once worked for HCCTV. We have a photo of you and the gang. And I hate that Todd is not here to see it. Maybe he'll catch it on the playback. But let's begin with your experience at HCC. We mentioned that you were part of the Filmmaking Program, but let's go a little deeper into what program you were in and how you came to work for HCCTV.
So, I got to go way back.
What you got to do is go back.
I'm going to go back. So I joined the film program at HCC back. It was a long time ago. I'm going to say that. This was when the film program was at Spring Branch before it went to A-Leaf Hayes. So my thought process was right after high school, like I did go to a full university, but I left because I wasn't feeling like the big classes and everything. And I was like, okay, I need to go somewhere where I feel more connected with the professors and everything, because my field, with filming and everything, like I'm still new to the game. So I'm just like, I need to be more connected. I want to talk more to the professors. So the first thing that popped up in my mind after doing like a research was HCC. And then I also remember too, because I used to go to HCC for adult high school. So I remember, like I said, I remember seeing like the performing arts school back at Spring Branch back in the day. So I said, okay, let me go ahead and check out their program. And let me tell you, by far the best decision that I ever made. What I love about the program was just the connectivity between the students and, again, the professors. So if I had like a question or like, let's say, for example, I've learned from one of the professors. Is it okay if I say the name?
Yeah, put him out there.
Okay, so I remember Mr. Harrington. This is a long time ago, but I remember I was a freshman at HCC, and I remember the thing, and it still stuck with me to this day. He said, just get a camera and go out and shoot. And me, I'm processing that in my mind, but years later, He is so right. He's definitely right about that. And again, that still stuck with me to this day. But what I loved about the program, the classes were smaller. It was more intimate. It was more of like, if we got a project, you know, we can still, of course, stay after classes or whatever. We can still talk to the professors. The professors is always there to answer every little thing that you need. And even if you don't even know your cameras and stuff, and even like, I remember they used to give us those little JVC cameras, and that's foreign language to me back then compared to now. But I just remember like learning the functions on the cameras and everything. So it was an amazing experience. And I will never forget my journey going through HCC. I've met so many people in that film program, and I'm still friends with them to this day. But one thing I can say, you know, attending that film program was definitely the best decision I made. I would never be where I am today if it wasn't for networking, if it wasn't for, you know, creating great friends, you know, connecting more with the professors. Because even too, there'll be like some Saturday events or whatever that the professor will say, like, you know, hey, come join this, workshops, all kinds of stuff. And I said, I'm about to join. I'm about to hop on, you know. And it was cool. Yeah.
Listen, I didn't even want to stop you. I just feel like you just filmed a commercial for HCC. I was going to let you go, but I want to make sure you have the opportunity to share a little bit about what you've done after your education at HCC. I know that you did do a lot of food photography. Are you still doing that?
I am. And I'm going to go back to working at HCCTV. Every time I go on a food shoot now, I can't help but thinking about Food Without Borders. Because when I was working at HCCTV, I remember Todd and everybody, we used to go to these different restaurants and we used to shoot Food Without Borders. So we'll go to these different restaurants. We'll interview the owners, you know, watch them cook the food. And by far, that food was very delicious looking on camera. But yeah, like afterwards, like I am a full-time food photographer and videographer. I do a lot of social media for a lot of restaurants. But, you know, I say my humble beginnings were at HCC TV working with Food Without Borders, because I've learned so much on set. Because when I landed that job with HCC TV, I was still a student at HCC. So it was just like, I'm just like a mental sponge. So I'm just like, hey, you know, I'm learning a whole lot on set. And then now, like, I can bring that knowledge that I know to each client that I get. So it's definitely like, I definitely thank HCC for that.
Awesome. Well, you went back, reminisce with me. Randy is on now to bring us to speak with you about what you are doing currently. Hi, Randy.
Hey, guys. Sorry about my technical difficulties. It's a joy. Hey, girl, what are you up to? You mentioned clients. So what are you doing right now? What are your current projects?
My current project right now is technically food photography. So my main focus, of course, like I go to different restaurants and I shoot for my biggest thing right now. I have a contract with Grubhub, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and a whole bunch of, you know, little nitpicks. But also too, I freelance right now. I have my own business. So my main focus, of course, is still, you know, I still do like a little events and stuff like that. But my main focus right now is like restaurants and, you know, just working with the menus, shooting food. Food is pretty much like my main, my main focus. But I still do like other things as well, like go out to like different businesses and shoot for them and stuff like that. But, you know, I do a lot of food projects right now with a bunch of clients.
I was going to say you're making me hungry, but I don't call DoorDash or Grubhub or any of that small stuff. That's pretty good. Those are good contracts.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I say, it's definitely been an amazing journey with them. And of course, I still work with them to this day. Like I say, you may have seen some of my work.
I have.
Ordering off the app. So it's been pretty cool. But, you know, also, you know, as I'm working with them, it's like, you know, I'm gaining connections with these people. Like, for example, I was literally a guy, like, just literally called me out of the blue and he said, hey, Kirby, you know, I know you shoot food, but do you shoot people? And I'm like, yeah, I still shoot people. I take photographs and I film people as well. But but of course, like I still got you. So he called me to, he had like an event going on and I went ahead and just like shot it. But also too, it's like, it's so amazing though, just to be in that realm of this. Cause I didn't even think, back then when I was at HCC, my main focus was like, okay, yeah, I'm about to go work at an awesome studio. I'm probably going to be in California. I don't know, but I'm here in Houston.
So much of the work here is corporate and commercial, but it's changing. We just had a big networking event and people were talking about narrative projects. So are you looking, are there any projects like that on your horizon that you want to get into?
So that was also something that I did mention. I do work for a advertising and marketing agency called the CAM agency. Yeah. So it's more of like, we do go out to different businesses and we do shoot a lot of like corporate clients. And also too, I'm also a part of the American Caribbean Chamber of Commerce. So we also, a lot of those clients have walked up to me because they know what I do. But it's I'm still in the realm. Besides just food, like I do shoot a lot of like corporate people. And also too, like again, going back to HCC, I remember going to like campuses, shooting like each department and stuff. Like we all went over there and like did that. And I've learned I've learned a whole lot from it.
Well, thank you so much for being on and for being such a success story. Really quick, before we go, what's the one piece of advice you would offer a current student?
This is a good one. To all my HCC students, while you're in class, while you're in learning whatever field that you're trying to get into, don't wait till you get the degree. Start looking right now in your field because there are tons of employers out there that are willing to hire you. So just don't wait because once you're in there, all the opportunities are going to come even after you get your degrees. Nice. But stay focused. Never fall. Never.
Good advice. That's good. No, I mean, start working now. You start the hustle now. You get further later.
Yes.
Good advice. That's excellent. No wonder you're one of our HCC graduate success stories.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, Kirby Williams. And thanks for putting up with my technical difficulties today. Today was a little bit loony, like everything crashed. I'm sure you've been on a set when that happens.
Hey, it happens. But, we fix it. And now we're here.
That's right. You just got to keep plugging away.
Yes. Thank you so much for allowing me to come here. My pleasure.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Absolutely. Look forward to seeing y'all as well. Thank y'all so much.
Hey, Sade, how are you?
Hey, doing well. Glad you got it resolved.
Everything crashed. I had the blue screen of death there for a while. It was just one of those where it's like, I can't hear anything. Everything's black. I'm like looking at you guys like, I don't know. I hate that. And it's my last show before Christmas. So I'm feeling a little bit bummed.
My goodness. Well, let's let you kick off the announcements.
Okay. So today we're talking about Infinite Nature. The Diaz exhibition ends today. The painting and photo works of Houston-based artist Saul Diaz explores the poetic and comforting relationship between man and nature. And that exhibition ends today at the HCC Southeast East Side Wedge Space Arts Gallery. So you have until this evening to get out there and see it.
All right. And we have our final civic trustee workshop next week, focused on leadership and problem solving. Next Monday is HCC's community learning online workshop on no blame problem solving, government decision making, and city leadership roles. It'll go from 9 a.m. to noon on Monday, December 12th. It'll be virtual. Check out the links posted after the show for more details.
And then we have our mental wellness support group, coping skills, coming up. I could have used a little of those this morning, a little stress. This month, HCC's virtual mental wellness support group, open to students 18 or over, provide safe space to gain mental health awareness and education, gain life coping skills, and receive emotional support is at 3:30, Wednesday, December 14th via WebEx. So check our post to register after the show.
All right. And we have a different type of exhibition coming up. This is news to me, but an awesome announcement. There will be an Instagram exhibition that will feature HCC's gallery walls posted on Instagram for its fall 2022 exhibition that features studio classes from all the colleges in the HCC system. It'll be available on Instagram through December 31st. Of course, registration is not required unless you need to register for the Instagram app. And the link with more details will be posted after the show.
And then winter break is coming up. I know I taught my last class last night. I was super excited. It was a long semester for me. It was a lot, but it was good. Like the projects were good. The finals were good. I was very excited for the students. You know, those aha moments, Sade, when you look at a student and you think, oh, you did get it. Oh, good.
Absolutely.
I feel so much better. So there is no up to the minute on the winter break, which is Tuesday, December 20th. And then we're returning Tuesday, January 3rd. So all HCC campuses, district offices will close during winter break. Faculty and staff will be off, no up to the minute. In addition, we will not air next week on graduation and board meeting days, which are Wednesday and Thursday, December 14th and 15th. So yeah, just a couple of shows next week and then no more us until January 3rd.
Oh my goodness. Wait with bated breath for us. But while you wait, remember spring registration is still open. There's still an opportunity to register for our multiple spring sessions. The spring course schedule has in-person and online course offerings. To learn more about the HCC program, start dates, and options to cover costs, be sure to visit hccs.edu/apply. Well, even though there are a few shows next week, we definitely want to look ahead and let you know what's next. For Mental Health Monday, we'll talk about the pet therapy and pet adoptions at the Fort Bend Home for the Holidays event next week. And we recently discussed how stroking a pet releases endorphins. So we'll learn more about that on Monday, and we'll have Tasty Tuesday and Film Friday next week as well. Thanks so much for joining us for this edition of Up to the Minute. We'll see you next time.